Hello, everyone, and welcome to Affreej Alumni Story Series. This is where we highlight the incredible journey of our past learners and show how education can open doors, create opportunities, and transform lives. Affreej is all about empowering people through accessible, interactive, and flexible learning. In this series, we reconnect with our alumni to hear their real experiences, the challenges they face, the skill they gained, and how their time with the Frege has shaped where they are today. Today, we are excited to talk with Hassan Usmani, who has completed a few courses on our platform, and we'll learn about his journey, his growth, and his advice for current and future students. So let's start. Hassan, how are you doing today?
I'm good here.
Yeah, thank you for being here with us and thank you for talking to us. And let's dive into a little bit about yourself. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background?
Thank you for having me. So, my name is Hassan. I'm in Monash University, Malaysia. Before this, I was in high school, Pakistan International School, Jeddah. I finished my A levels in CS in 2023, June. And in
Mhm.
that same year, I joined university in October. So, I've always loved computer science. I've always loved programming. And I've been doing the same thing since. So, I'm doing computer science in Monash University, Malaysia. And the next semester will be my final semester, hopefully.
Hopefully, and that's great. So tell us a little about what courses did you take on a Frege?
So I studied A level CS under Affreej. I took tuition from them. So yeah, I studied A level CS from them.
Perfect, perfect. And what initially motivated you to join a Freech? How you got to know about it and how you got enrolled in it?
So before A levels, I think during O levels, I initially aimed to pursue medicine. So I was aiming to take biology or science subjects in A level,
Hmm.
and this was because I didn't know much about computer science then, so I wasn't really interested in that. I knew programming existed as well, but again, I didn't know much about it. So I used to play this game called Minecraft during that time a lot. And then I
Okay.
discovered this block called command block. So you could write lines of code inside those blocks. And if you change multiple of them together, you could do a bunch of things. So you could like control game mechanics, program behaviors of different creatures, and create mini games. So you could basically customize how the whole world worked. And I
Okay.
figured this was basically what programming was. And I realized I was more into computer science than I was into biology. I enjoyed problem solving, I enjoyed customization. And then I decided to try learning some programming languages on my own. So I found out Python exists and then I wanted to learn it on my own. So there were a bunch of websites. One of them was, I think, called SoloLearn, and they had a
Okay.
free course on Python. So I went for their course and I found it a bit overwhelming. Like the concepts weren't that easy to grasp. Like there were a bunch of syntax I had to learn. So I didn't know the process with which I had to take in all of this information. So I discussed this with my mother, and she knew about Average, and she recommended that I take this course. So that was the whole motivation behind it.
Perfect. That's so amazing. And you found your path in a way with a game, and you kept on doing it. All the things came along, and programming and Python and everything. But one thing that would like to say, would like you to explain a little further on is that the difference that you saw in the first platform that you were studying at, trying to understand the basics of Python, and what was how you differentiate these two platforms, a free learning process and the other platform you just mentioned, Solo Learn. Is that it?
Yeah, Solo Learn. I think
What
it was
was the
called Solo
basic
Learn.
difference? Yeah.
So in that platform, it wasn't as organized as Outrageous was. Like there were some concepts you could only verbally convey.
Okay.
Um, Concepts such as thinking about coding, like explaining how to dry run programs. Like there's some algorithms where you have to view a bunch of examples to fully understand, to fully
Mhm.
internalize. And Solo Learn wasn't doing that because it was just content on a website. And
Okay.
this wasn't something you could easily grasp. And Afrij had a much better structured way of conveying all of that information.
Perfect. That is actually great. And let's say some things are just best learned in one-on-one interactive learning environment, right? So that you get to
Yeah.
ask questions and get to grasp what is not very much explainable itself. So that is great.
Mhm.
And now we'll dive into the experience of the platform that you have gained. So how would you describe your learning experience on Affreej?
So I really enjoyed the experience. Of course, I've always enjoyed programming, so I enjoyed the experience. And as I mentioned, learning felt very structured. It felt very organized. They really focused on you understanding the logic behind the algorithm before you went on to construct the algorithm. They
Yeah.
wanted you to think before coding, and it made CS feel much easier. It felt much more approachable. They broke problems down step by step, and they explained how the algorithms would scale with different kinds of problems. And they made you internalize the code as much as you can. So you had everything dry running in your head, the simplest examples. So you know exactly how it's running for the examples. And when you have to debug, you know where the issues would be. So it built a very strong foundation for me. And it's been very useful till this day.
Perfect. So from building a foundation and trying to understand the basics and then moving on towards actually doing it. And one thing that you have mentioned that they made you think before you code that what you are about to create. And that is something that we really need. And that's great. Moving on, like I would like to know the features of the platform, like for example, adaptive learning, multimedia content or interactive activities. Which feature helped you the most on the platform?
I think it was a mix of all those things, um, because it was a Zoom meeting, they had shared their content whenever we had issues on because we were coding on a platform called VS Code. So whenever we had bugs coming up when we were coding, we would share our screen. They could draw on our screen and they could point out exactly where the bug would be. But of course, before that, they would be dry running the algorithm to give you an idea of why the issue would be there. How would they have arrived to that conclusion? And then they would point out the bug. So it was very useful. And before that, they had whiteboard presentations to basically give you an idea of what you were going to construct before you actually went on to construct it. So there
Right.
was a bunch of very useful things.
Perfect. And throughout this process, like what stands out for you the best and the most that you would say, okay, okay, this is the point where I think that I'm actually getting, involved with the platform and I'm learning something. What was that point during this whole process?
So that's the thing that I mentioned. So whenever we had bugs or anything, we had
Hmm.
any conceptual issues, they would pause everything. Like
Okay.
I would have some sort of code written out. There would be a bug. I don't know why there's an issue. The normal syntax issues, you can easily solve them. You're missing a bracket or something. There's logical issues where you don't
Okay.
know why you're not getting the correct output. So they would come on your screen. They would draw out, for example, it's a sorting algorithm. So they draw out the list of numbers that you want to sort. They would use
Hmm.
your algorithm and show us what the final result would look like. And then throughout the process of iterating through all those, array transformations, they would show you where exactly the bug was occurring. And then they would
Wow.
point to where it was occurring. And then it all made sense. It all clicks together. So that's how they mixed a lot of things
That
and made everything useful.
amazing. It's like, everything falling like a flick of a switch. Everything is falling into place, and you get multiple problems, and you now know the map route of it, how to jump from one to the second and third, and just keep on going until everything falls apart, falls all together. So that's amazing. And this is, in a way, offers flexibility. Like all, as you said, it's a complete mix of adaptive learning, multimedia content as well, and interactive activities where they came in and help you to understand and map out the issue that the bugs debugging about the debugging you are facing. This is kind of hope and shows a little bit of flexibility. Did the flexibility of learning at your own pace make a difference for you? And if it did, how it did that?
Of course, it did. Whenever we had these classes, so it wasn't exactly one on one. There were I think around 5 people in a class at that time. And
Mhm.
whenever they would teach the concept first, or they would go through the code, if anyone had any issues, they would ask, and then they would pause everything, and
Okay.
they would answer their question. And that wasn't really useless for us because it was only their issue. No, because it improved our understanding of the whole algorithm. We wouldn't have thought to ask that question, And because he asked that question, they explained that to him, dry running and everything. It made so basically a class with several people. It was I think it was much more useful than it would have been when if we would have had a one-on-one session, because I wouldn't have thought to answer those questions, ask those questions.
Yes. Okay, perfect. So
Yeah.
having the people, they ask some other questions that you have not even thought of, and you get to learn from their queries as well. And that is what the basics of a classroom environment is. So creating that on a virtual platform and bringing that to it, hats off to Afreej for doing that. That's an amazing answer and something that I actually brings me back to my learning days, where yes, sometimes a class fellow asks a question and you goes like, wow, that's an issue, that's a problem, and I have never thought about it.
Mhm.
So yes, that brings a lot of learning potential as well. While potential and personal growth comes into the discussion, what skills or knowledge do you think you gain from the courses?
So, as I mentioned, they built a very strong foundation for me in computer science in terms of algorithms and thinking, logical thinking, and
Hmm.
understanding how the code would execute step by step, the ability to reason about different edge cases, and the techniques you would use to solve those edge cases. I learned how to break the problems into smaller parts and then going about them step by step. And
Okay.
I used all of these skills to experiment on my own with different kinds of problems and find solutions on my own. Because, of course, Afrij can't give you a list of all the solutions for every kind of problem. That's basically impossible because there's an infinite number of problems you can have in coding. They
Okay.
develop a framework for you, and it's the student's job to use that framework, come up with their own problems creatively, and solve them. So, for example, in my case, I was scrolling through WhatsApp once, and there was this group chat, and I scrolled through its features, like the about section, and there was this
Hmm.
chat history download. So you could get a text file, and it stored what everyone had sent, including their names. And I just had this idea to find the number of messages each person would have sent in that group. So I decided
Okay.
to take that text file. I had to read the file, I had to figure out how to parse the different contents, store the names, increment the number of messages everyone had sent, and then output the whole thing. And it took a while, but I definitely learned a lot. Using this framework, I solved the problem, and I learned so many new techniques. I learned about different libraries in Python that I
Wow.
didn't know existed. So yeah, it was very useful for me.
That's great. So it's like forming a grid of fundamentals, technicalities, and making the student walk through that grid to navigate his own path in what he or she is trying to do, or thinking about or making into new things. That's the grid that Afrij is providing in terms of personal growth to all those who are hearing us right now, watching us through this podcast. Well, definitely, if you're interested in something like that, go for it. And I would like to know how you have applied what you have learned to your studies, as you have mentioned the WhatsApp thing in your personal life, like in the studies, in the career, or any personal projects apart from this. How have you applied the learning?
So again, Outreach built this framework for me, and it's of course not just about learning; it's about using it, as
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned before. And using this, I developed so many new techniques. I learned about so many new things. I went through a bunch of problems. I learned how to solve each other's problems in many kinds of ways. And over time, this framework got sort of automated in my head. That's like my mindset adapted to this. And it's basically how I process every different problem. So, and it turns out to be useful in the most unexpected situations. So, I had this internship at Siemens. I had a
Okay.
role as a software quality tester, and it
Okay.
involved going through the software and finding different bugs in different parts of the software. I had no access to the code, so that was all hidden behind the backend. That was someone
Okay.
else's job. My job was just to find the bugs. But whenever I found a bug, so let's say I found a bug, and I'm able to predict where in the code it would be causing this specific issue for this bug, why this bug would be occurring. And then using that, I could predict where else in the software would the inconsistency be present. And I would go to that part of the software. Sometimes the bug would be there, sometimes not. But it just made searching for bugs a lot faster. It made it a lot more efficient. And of course, the supervisors appreciated that. And I didn't expect this kind of use case for this, for everything that I had learned. And of course, it's
Perfect.
been useful throughout university as well, like throughout different courses where they teach you a bunch of algorithms and then they throw a problem at you that you have to solve this. You can choose which algorithm you want to use from the bunch of algorithms we taught you. Sometimes you have to merge those algorithms. It can get a bit difficult, but with this framework and with enough practice, it becomes very easy.
I guess always there's when you get a very, very strong foundation and get to understand the fundamentals with this kind of learning environment, it always go a long way, as you have said that in your personal projects, then in your career, and as you go into the university, and there you have the projects. It always helps and keep on going. As you have mentioned in so far in our conversation, you have mentioned a few points. It's like the WhatsApp story as well. With that's a personal project, and then trying to learn Python on your own, and then finding about Affreej and going into the courses and opting one for it. Would can you share a specific moment along around all these events that were taking place on their own? Was there a specific moment when you realized that course is making a very positive impact in your life?
So when I had gone through the course, I was in university by then. I think this was like during the first few weeks of the university in the first semester. So we were presented with coding problems immediately. We had to solve some coding problems, and a bunch of friends of mine they were having a lot of trouble because they didn't have much CS background. And I
Okay.
noticed I was quite comfortable with this, with the problems I had, and I solved those problems quite easily. So I decided to help them, and whenever I read their code, it was I found that I could read the code like I'm reading a page off a book, and I could just process all that. And through that whole framework, I can like debug the whole code and find the errors. It would take a solid 5 minutes where I had to lock in and stare at the screen for 5 whole minutes, but then I'd be running test cases in my head, and then I
Okay.
finally pinpointed the bug. So doing all this, I found out that it truly made a huge impact to the way uh, to my problem solving skills. So yeah, that was one of the few moments where I realized that it made a big impact.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. So, and it is a kind of a aha moment in psychology. We say there's an aha moment in your life regarding your personal life or your career or your professional life when you get to understand, aha. So this is working. This is something exciting, and this is actually going on for in a good way for me. So yes, that is really amazing. Moving forward with the questions, Hassan, do tell us like during this process, you must have faced a lot of challenges because it is a new learning curve. You are starting something new, and especially coming from the background of medical to the computer sciences, that is a challenge itself. So, do tell us about did you face any challenges during your learning journey, and how did you overcome them?
The main challenge I had was um, so when I was basically trying to take this on by myself, learning a programming language, I had the main issue I had, which has always been an issue with me, is basically memorization. I always have trouble memorizing things. And with Python, there's a lot of syntax that you have to memorize before you can actually start using it. And there's a lot of concepts behind the syntaxes, like how do you use that syntax? What are the parameters you have to fill to use that syntax? So
Okay.
I've mainly had issues with memorization and understanding those concepts. But in computer science, a lot of the languages like Python, Java, JavaScript, TypeScript, they all share concepts. All the languages share concepts throughout. So once you fully understand a single language, then it becomes very easy to basically translate your algorithms into a different language. So if you've
Okay.
learned Python, it becomes very easy to learn Java, TypeScript, Haskell, C++. So that was the main block I had, was memorization. And I had to do a lot of practice. And as I mentioned, using that framework, I solved a lot of problems. I learned how to
Mhm.
use all that syntax very well. And yeah, that's how I solved my issue.
Perfect. That is something, yes, and definitely you're going to face a few of challenges while you are at a different learning curve. And for the students who are watching this podcast at the moment, the Affreej Alumni Stories. So there definitely are going to be challenges during a learning curve, your learning journey, and the only way is to overcome them with the help of your instructors, with the help of the educators. And that brings me to the question: how helpful was the resource and the feedback provided by the FRIS during all these challenges you were facing?
So they were very helpful. One of the resources, I guess you could call it a resource.
Okay.
I'm not sure though. It's called a techno show. So it's like
Oh, yes.
it's a part of Africa. It's basically a platform on its own where
Yeah.
you could build projects, where you have an opportunity to build real projects and showcase them to a bunch of people. And it's basically a competition, sort of a hackathon. So,
Yeah, I actually host that. So I know
oh,
about that.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So all the
Okay.
I've recently we have hosted a techno show, the latest season of it, and there were multiple projects. And you're absolutely right. That resource is amazing to bring on new projects. Do let us tell us a little bit about your project and how you use that platform.
Yeah. So, like, before I participated in my first techno show, I saw what a bunch of other people had built in the previous techno shows. And really, it pushed me to build a much more complex project. Like, I really wanted to win the thing. And
Okay.
techno show really added the pressure to push my limits. So what I built was a facial recognition algorithm. It was a simple Python script. So if you would run the algorithm, it will detect your face. And if your face is assigned to that application, it would unlock an application and you'd have like a snake game, statistics for your screen time. So a bunch of features, and it was a very simple script. It took me a while though, and I won that techno show. So adding that pressure to push my limits really motivated me to make my work more presentable and think about all the different use cases I had to present for, which are both skills that are very useful now for university, for the projects I have to present and everything. And
Perfect.
winning, yeah, and winning one of these gave me the confidence that I could build working systems, and early exposure to this kind of stuff made CS feel um, much less intimidating. And I was
Oh,
already comfortable breaking down problems and uh, coming up with solutions for different kinds of problems while I was in university.
I would like to go a little back on what you said. Like, yes, sometimes when you are trying new things, as you said about CS, it is a little intimidating and a little difficult to grab all that what is changing around you and how the information is coming at you. And yes, Techno Show by a free e-learning is definitely a platform where it gives you the environment of a competition and also growth, and then their feedbacks on your project, and that is really amazing. And I'm so glad. And we have a winner of a free techno show with us as well. So Hassan, congratulations on that. And definitely sounds a very interesting project of facial recognition. That's amazing. And this is the kind of resources Affreej is providing the students. There are definitely courses, there feedback. There's a network of alumni as well to help you. It's one-on-one classroom sessions as well. Along with that is one more thing. There's a competition, a platform to set your own program and then present it to the number of judges who are in the field, and they give you feedback on it. And then definitely winning one or participating one gives you the confidence and the ground to step your foot on and go on with it. So that is really amazing, and it's a life experience as well. So as we're talking about this, how was your life after the course? What are you currently doing in terms of studying, working, building a project, etc.? Tell us about, in the beginning you have given us a background about what you're doing, but go into a little detail. What are you studying at the moment? What projects are you doing, and in terms of career and working, what's going on in life, Hassan?
So the course I'm taking is Computer Science Advanced. There's two branches you can take here in Monash if
Okay.
you ever consider joining it for the people watching. So there's two branches called Advanced and Data Science. Of course, in the name, it's in the name. Data Science branch focuses more on data science.
Hmm.
And the Advanced, I chose this option because I wanted to keep all my options open. Because I didn't decide what I wanted to go for before I started my bachelor, so I decided to go for this course. It's a little more difficult, but it opens up many options for you. It doesn't restrict you in one path. And currently, I'm in my semester break, so I'm in the middle of an internship. It's
Okay.
actually required by the university to graduate an internship. So I'm working here in Malaysia. It's a company called SHRDC, Selangor Human Resources Development Center. So it's a
Okay.
government initiative where they offer a bunch of training programs, and its main purpose is to push Malaysia or to speed up Malaysia's progress towards digitization. So they offer
Okay.
several different courses across AI and stuff like that. There's a department under them called Malaysia Smart Factory, and in I'm working in that. So the way they come up with these courses is through research, and that's my job over there. I do a bunch of research, and I
Okay.
get to experiment with many things. So there's a bunch of people working there. It's actually mostly interns there, and they all have their own projects assigned by their supervisor. So we all we all find some open source application. We set that up. We have local LLMs. We make agents out of them. We integrate them with each other. And then you talk with other people because sometimes your projects might be linked with the other interns working there. So you talk with them, connect your project. It's a very collaborative environment.
Wow,
And
that's
yeah,
really great.
so that's what I'm doing right now.
And that great things, great things. You're already in your final semester, and the internship sounds really, really interesting. In terms of research, I have a question of my own that is coming into my mind right now. You have we are going to talk about the advice that you have for students later on. But if somebody wants to take this path in computer sciences, and you have said about two branches, software and data sciences, what makes what is the temperament of a student? Who can understand, okay, now this is my path, data sciences, what kind of temperament that requires research and understanding that, and what kind of temperament the coding branch requires. Do tell us a little about a bit about that.
So basically, you'd have to. The reason I chose the advanced path is it combines data science, not the
Hmm.
advanced. I'm not sure if it has the advanced data science courses. I think they're offered as electives, so you can choose them. But it
Okay.
combines data science and every other field, like cybersecurity, advanced algorithms, data structures, a bunch of courses, and of course you have electives to offer many more options. So you have to experience all of these yourself to make a decision. I feel like I'm not sure if that's how it should be for everyone. That's what I needed because
Hmm.
research wasn't enough for me. I needed to experience this as well. And data science now, I'm not. I'm glad I chose the advanced part, not data science, because data science involves more analysis, more math, and I'm not really into math that much. So
Okay.
yeah,
Understandable. So yes, if you are just to summarize a little, if you are into the answer Hassan gave is that if you are a little into the analysis of situations and the data and research, and very if math something that calls you, so definitely go into that direction, and definitely that's a very very good thing that you have done, that you actually roam around with the courses and experimented and actually see where your card falls. So that is really amazing, and that's a very good choice to take moving forward in your career. Did do you feel Afrish played a role in helping you to get where you are now in your professional academic career, and in what way it helped you?
definitely everything Affreej has taught me, the foundation it's built, the framework it's given me, the opportunities it's given me, Techno Show for building my confidence. Everything has been very useful so far because a lot of it is coming into use now. Like I have a final year project, I have to make pitches. So you have to make a pitch, you have to pitch your project, and you have to make presentations, and you have to have a good presentation. You have to understand all the use cases and be able to present them for it to make sense for the audience. And TechnoShow was like an introduction to that sort of what would you call it, experience. So
Yeah.
it really prepared me for all that. So Hafiz did play a very big role.
Perfect. That is amazing. And if you want to pursue a career in a field of computer sciences, coding, and understanding it more, Freeze is always open for new students. And we definitely hope that if that is your life's aim, go for it and join a free e-learning. While we are at it and we are talking about talking to the students or the potential students who are listening to this podcast, what advice would you give to the new learners joining a free?
So for the advice, I mainly want to talk about AI. Of course, everyone knows how powerful AI is, and you
Yeah.
will end up using AI later. Even in work, like my supervisors, they expect a very fast output. The deadlines are not that long because they expect you to use AI, because of course AI speeds everything up.
Yeah.
But during the course at Affreej, when you start learning at Affreej, I suggest avoid AI entirely, because you should focus on internalizing your concepts, building your concepts, understanding whatever they tell you. Because what I've seen at university is, like I mentioned in the first week, I was helping a bunch of people. Um, like a bunch of them, of course, had issues with their code. And whenever I went to fix their code, what I saw among most of those people were most of them had very similar code. And you could tell it was AI generated. And that's why I was able to help so many of them, because it was literally the same answer every time for each of them. And
Okay.
they all they all needed help, and they didn't. A lot of them didn't bother understanding what the issue was with their code. They just asked others and got it fixed. Now, of course,
Okay.
AI is much better, so they don't really need help from anyone anymore. They just get AI to generate the code. It works, but they don't understand anything. And now courses are much harder. The the courses like require much more complex solutions, and of course AI isn't perfect, so it keeps making bugs. And even though they keep passing it back to the AI, it can't solve them. And when they try to get someone else to help, the other person can't understand it. I can't understand it,
Hmm.
because right now AI is focusing on efficiency. So it has these weird variable names. It's using these syntaxes in weird ways. Of course, it's very efficient, but it's very unreadable. I can't read anything the AI is saying. So
Okay.
they can't fix it themselves because they don't understand it. They didn't bother learning, and they couldn't get anyone else to fix it. So they didn't score very well in their courses. So this is why understanding matters a lot. You should be able to read your code like you're reading a page of a book, and you should know exactly how it works. Like for the first few, I guess, I'm not sure, months or years, just ditch AI completely. Focus on your lectures and build your concepts on your own. And you can use AI to help you with understanding concepts, but don't use it too much, because it's always tempting to get the AI to solve everything. Because you just start thinking, if AI is so smart, why don't I just ask it to start coding and
Yeah.
everything? Because I don't have to do it. AI is literally perfect, but that's the thing. It isn't perfect. It will keep making issues. So uh, understand everything, build your foundation, and once you're done with that, then you can use AI, but use it as a helper. Don't let AI take control. Use it to help you.
Okay, perfect. Just to a little, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to summarize it a little bit. So, if you're, in a simple words, if you're going to take the easy road with AI, it's definitely going to cost you in the future with your marks and with your career. Once you get to understand the fundamentals, the basics, how to code, how to read the code, how to know what it actually means and what it actually is doing, then you can use AI as a secondary source to be a little creative about it and see how. Yeah, so because your primary source is you yourself, your understanding and your knowledge that you're going to get, and that is a very very good advice. Because right now, apart from, even if somebody is not from the computer field, if they are not from the software industry or data sciences, everybody is using AI and they're making it appears that they're making their lives easier. But the critical thinking and being creative is something that is taking a back seat because of it. And that is a wonderful advice. Thank you so much, Hassan. And I hope that the students who are going to be listening to this, watching this, and hopefully joining a free learning for their career and their academic life would definitely apply this in their learning experience. Would you recommend a free to others? We have had this whole conversation about it. It's somehow definitely say that if Reach is a green flag for those who wants to learn, and through virtual means, it's a brilliant platform. But let's twist the question a little. Why would you recommend a Free to others, and how would you explain your experience on it?
Because so again, like what AI is doing right now, when you get addicted to it, when you use it a lot, it deletes your creativity. You're not creative anymore. You're depending on AI to handle the creative part of you. And that's just very wrong. What Freeze is doing is the opposite. They're teaching you to think, they're teaching you to understand. They want you to explore problems on your own. They develop a framework and they encourage you to try different problems on your own, practice as much as you can. They give you so many opportunities. They give you techno show. They have a bunch of different features, different opportunities for you to become more creative, for you to be a better version of yourself. So that's why I would encourage outreach, because they promote creativity.
Perfect. So that is a really good reason to be recommending a fridge. Yes, if you can tap into your critical thinking, which is unique for every single human being, you can bring your own flavor to whatever you're going to do in life. And if a platform, a learning environment can ignite that and give you a grasp of it, that is something definitely you should go for and at least pursue. So we hope that this advice is going to reflect on the viewers of this podcast as well. Now a little casual question, Hassan, and I would like to know your funny elements or a very interesting, exciting, fun moment during your learning process in a free. Something terrible happened and you came out of it. Something funny happened that you did. Something exciting that happened during this, and you were like, okay, what happened here? This is interesting if you look at it from a third person viewpoint.
During my time at Affreej,
Yeah.
um, I'm not sure. I've always been a very straightforward person, so, and I've always been very I don't know. I don't remember any funny things about my time there, but
Okay.
I only remember it being very enjoyable, very interesting. I've always loved my time there. Yeah,
So
there
the
are not
overall
any
experience was very enjoyable itself.
very enjoyable. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be funny for me for it to be enjoyable.
Perfect.
I just love the process of understanding everything, and
Nice.
yeah,
So getting to know new things is very enjoyable, and yes, going to showcase it and prepare a project for it. Everything is enjoyable when you are learning and growing inside, and getting to know new things. Amazing. That is the way is works. And now, is there anything else you would like to else about your learning journey you'd like to share? Uh,
um, not really. No, I just want to stress on my advice more because I feel like this
okay.
is a huge issue with AI and everything. I see a lot of people struggling a lot. I
Mhm.
just want to stress that when you start learning, just don't depend on AI, ditch AI completely. It's a terrible thing. Life was much better without AI, honestly, in my opinion.
Okay, it was really better without AI. So,
Yeah, because it's
what AI is doing is like sometimes they talk about as piety is not something that people bring to the message bring to the people. It's what people bring to the message. So maybe AI itself is not that bad. The usage of it and the addiction towards it is going there. And what is causing that? Are we lazy as human beings? That's why we are indulging ourselves too much into it. What's your analysis on this as you're in the field and you're grasping it?
I feel like the people that here that are involved in using AI a lot more than they're involved in understanding the concepts is they just don't enjoy the subject. It's important for them to understand what they love, what they want to do. Is often that's why Outreach is perfect. You can literally explore what you want, what you love, what you want to go for in the future. You can try all sorts of different things. So when you don't enjoy something, you just become lazy about it. You can't be bothered doing it on your own, and a lot of
Yeah,
people end up cheating on their exams. That's why I find it very frustrating. Like
yeah.
people who shouldn't deserve the marks they get the marks because AI exists, and yeah, there's not a lot of ways to control that,
Yeah,
and
it
it
is. It
promotes a
is.
lot of dishonesty and removes creativity. It's very bad.
It's like it's also the level of moral ground to be established here. Once AI is definitely changing the reality of the world at the moment, and definitely there are going to be new moral grounds for it. And the moral ground that you have just talked about: to not cheat, to not make it a primary source of your learning experience, to not depend on it too much. That is going to be one of those moral grounds that is needed to be taught, which Affreej is doing in its learning environment, and is also responsibility of the parents and the students themselves to understand that it is a tool to help you, not a tool to form your life or your learning experience or your career itself. So that's a very, very good advice, Hassan, and I hope that people implement it, the students implement, and teachers and parents are very about it. Any messages for the Afrish community would like to put it out there?
Yes, I just want to say I'm very, very grateful for everything. I want to especially thank Miss Farah. She was the one who mostly taught me throughout the courses. She was amazing. And yeah, just thank you for everything. Thank you for all the opportunities
Perfect.
and
Miss
everything
Farah
you've
is
taught me. I
also.
wouldn't be here without you.
Yes. Thank you for saying that. And yes, you have done really good hard work, and the kind of concepts that you have, and the kind of morality that you show in this day and age of AI, to not misuse it and not depend on it too much. That says a lot about you, Hassan, and definitely
I
says a
try
lot.
to I try to follow those rules that I've
Yes,
kept for myself.
yes.
It gets a bit tempting, sorry, but yeah, I try my best.
But you don't fall into that temptation. That is perfect, and that's what makes you who you are, and what makes you to be helping hand for the people in your career, in your studies, as you have mentioned during our conversation. And definitely I see a leader beginning as well, I guess, in the process, and somehow it's already there. So definitely I hope that you get many, many opportunities, and get to explore them, and keep this morality and the understanding of the world intact with you. So, Hassan, we are at the end of our the Alumni Story podcast, and I cannot imagine that there will be a better start to it. To have you on board and to talk to you was really an amazing thing. Thank you so much. Any last messages for the students and the Afrish community, everybody out there listening to you?
Um, I guess just thank you for everything, and yeah, just the advice I give, just please follow that.
Please follow that. Perfect. Thank you so much for giving us the time, taking it out from your schedule. You're working and you are studying at the same time, and you're in a foreign land as well. So best of luck to you for your future, for your studies, for your career, and keep on shining and keep this morality going on. Thank you so much, Hassan. And with that, we are going to set the closing remarks. That brings us to the end of our today's episode for our Affreej Alumni Stories. A huge thank you yet again for Hassan Usmani for sharing his story, his growth, and the amazing things that he has accomplished after completing the course on Affreej. At Affreej, we believe that learning never stops. The stories like this remind us why we do what we do. If you're listening and feeling inspired, remember your learning journey could be the next one we feature. Don't forget to follow the podcast, share this episode with everyone you might need a boost, and stay tuned for more stories from learners just like you. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, keep believing in what you can achieve with Afrij. My name is Ahad Ali Siddiqui, and I'm going to sign off from the Afrij Alumni Stories now. Thank you so much.